Hello folks and welcome to the show. My name is Asa Morris and this is Weird Week. Thank you so much for joining us again. Before we get started though, all the business. Make sure you hit up the link tree in the show description for links to all of our things, the merch, the Patreon, the socials, and of course the podcast. That one. What the hell's this? Alright, forget it. Anyway, this one. Oh my god. Anyway, season 2 is coming up soon. Also make sure you do the big 5, like, comment, sub, bell, share. And let's just get into it because folks, so last week we covered what may or may not have been a fireball or a Chinese lantern over the Lockheed Martin facility in Fort Worth, Texas. Now normally I wouldn't cover these sorts of things because they're usually pretty explainable, unless of course I start to see a pattern showing up or there's something odd about them. Well folks, on Sunday this video popped up on Reddit from user AddOld7918. Shot in Newport Richey, Florida around 2:50 a.m. The object, at first, seems like a normal old Chinese lantern, except at points in the video, there seems to be a small trail or tail behind it, which you generally would not get with a slow drifting lantern.
Look at the camera. Look right here. That's moving very quickly across that sky. Look, bro, if you look at my camera, do you see the tail behind it? The tail just vanished.
Also on Sunday, another fireball / Chinese lantern video popped up. This time, outside of Reno, Nevada.
But is it moving?
Is it? Yeah, it's moving.
This one does seem pretty close to a Chinese lantern. I only bring these up because there were a handful of these spotted on Sunday. On Monday, a project was brought to my attention, and for all of you that are out there staring at the sky, hoping to see something, and maybe seeing something, well, this might be for you. Skyhub.org is a project that utilizes a number of databases and AI software to, as their site puts it, connect a network of civilian-owned sensor arrays, use machine learning to catalog anomalous events, and share this data with researchers. At the moment, they have a Patreon if you would like to contribute to the project, or you can also become an active member by purchasing some of the hardware. The second option is a little steep at the moment, and hopefully those prices come down. But I definitely think this project is a step in the right direction and will become invaluable to people like you and I in the near future. Also on Monday, England's crop circle season has officially begun. This design was found on Monday morning in the village of Stanton St. Bernard. Dr. Horace Drew, an observer of this particular circle, noted that the plants do not show any obvious signs of mechanical crushing. Their yellow flowers remain intact, and as such there is no evidence at present to suggest that it might have been man-made. If by some chance it was man-made, then they have certainly done a nice tidy job in a field where the farmer would not be friendly. To me, as if my opinion matters, the design only looks tidy from a distance, and when the drone comes in close it looks a little sloppy. I don't know if it means anything, but I'm always more than a little skeptical about crop circles. On Tuesday, The Black Vault ran this article about a recent FOIA acquisition. Decision Logic Table Instructions for Recording and Handling Visual Information Material, which is essentially a series of procedures for recording and handling the video evidence of various events. One section category was Unidentified Flying Object, UFO, and Other Aerial Phenomena Imagery. As the Black Vault notes, this was written 30 years after Project Blue Book and 6 years before the publicly disclosed formation of ATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Whether or not this is connected to any fully formed project isn't clear, but what is that the idea and reality of the sightings were constant even when not publicly acknowledged. Also on Tuesday, seemingly bringing up a counterpoint, Forbes ran this article. US Navy laser creates plasma UFOs, which suggests that many sightings, including those seen on radar, infrared, or even visually, may be entirely fabricated via intense laser pulses that creates a sort of glowing plasma. Well, just add that to the pile of explanations. 2 weeks ago, we covered a sighting of what appeared to be two dots making sharp turns in the sky over Apopka, Florida. Well, on Wednesday, back in Apopka, Florida, this video popped up from Reddit user Rough Beast, showing what looks like a cylindrical object moving quickly through the sky and making an easy turn left. It could be anything, but if you're near Apopka, Florida, eyes up. On Thursday, the New York Times ran a great opinion piece that I mostly agree with, titled, "Even if you think discussing aliens is ridiculous, just hear me out." The author, Ezra Klein, opens the piece by pointing out all of the credible and often incredible reports that have broken, many of them in the New York Times, in the last handful of years, as if to shake the skeptical reader awake to say, something is happening. Maybe aliens, maybe not. The rest of the piece is dedicated to playing out a sort of what-if scenario. How would contact, whether species to species or undeniable evidence of other intelligence, affect the human race? He makes a lot of the same points that many of us have in decades past. Government trust would collapse, political narratives would become a new gold rush, which is actually happening right now, and after the initial shock, many people, if they believed it at all, would go right back to their daily lives without a problem. COVID has been an excellent example of how what people really want is normalcy, at any cost. Also on Thursday, NPR ran this interesting little article titled, "Freshly Made Plutonium from Outer Space Found on Ocean Floor." According to the article, traces of rare forms of iron and plutonium have been found at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean after some kind of cataclysm in outer space created this radioactive stuff and sent it raining down on our planet. The debris arrived on Earth within the last 10 million years, according to a report in the journal Science. Once it hit the Pacific Ocean and settled to the bottom, nearly a mile down, the material got incorporated into layers of a rock that was later hauled up by a Japanese oil exploration company and donated to researchers. After much testing and theorizing, the most likely culprit currently is a pair of supernovas in Earth's cosmically recent past, 3 million years ago. Freshly made may be a bit of an exaggeration. On Friday, lots of articles this week. CBS News ran a story that doesn't surprise me and most likely won't surprise you either, especially in conjunction with that Forbes article. Former Navy pilot says flight crews observed UFOs off Atlantic coast every day for at least a couple years. Former Navy Lieutenant Ryan Graves says he and other members of his FA-18 fighter squadron detected strange, maneuverable, and unidentified objects flying in the restricted airspace southeast of Virginia Beach nearly every day for 2 years, beginning in 2015. The sightings were so common, he says, pilots and their crews began to take them for granted. Again, back to that Forbes article, every day for 2 years in restricted airspace? Sounds like testing to me. And finally on Saturday, to end the week on a little creepy goofiness, Reddit user Sean J10376 claims to have captured the famous Hatman on camera. Here are 2 of the 3 shots. Now, it's been a while since we've played How to Spot a Fake on this show, and honestly, besides just assuming there is a dummy or something similar placed behind the person, the photo itself seems genuine. I know the Hatman is a thing people claim to see, and maybe it's something, but personally, I don't buy that these are photos of that entity at all. And that's our week. If you see something throughout the week that you'd like me to take a look at, either for this show or for the podcast, hit us up on any of the socials or directly at lowstrangeness@gmail.com. If you would like more in-depth discussion of, well, basically anything weird, make sure you follow the podcast, that one. 1 gag per show, that's it. I don't have time to make 15 gags for every time I bring up the podcast. Low Strangeness. It's available everywhere podcasts are available. We're currently on hiatus, but we'll be coming back in June. Anyway, once again, I am Asa Morris. This has been Weird Week. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you check out our link tree in the description for the links to all of our things, socials, merch, Patreon, etc. And don't forget to like, comment, sub, bell, share, etc. Take care of yourselves and the people around you, and I will see you next week. What I'm sure I'll say,